Hello, Mr. Daniels here again. Chapter 24 of Freak the Mighty coming your way, but the return of Kicker. Hey, that right there, the title right there, a little preview of what's to come. What do we call that literary device? Bueller. Bueller. Remember we talked about it a couple chapters earlier. It's called foreshadowing. Yes, foreshadowing. Little foreshadowing there for you. Obviously, we know Kicker is referring to Max's preschool days. And he was kicking everyone back in those days because he was angry. So I wonder if Max might be getting angry in chapter 24, and I wonder what could be making Max angry. That's what should be going through your mind right now. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and dive into this. We have 2 chapters left of the book, and we're going to go ahead and get started. The deal is I'm not supposed to bother anybody at the hospital. Yeah, right. Like me being there is going to screw things up. The way everybody's acting around here, you're supposed to shut up and not do anything but wait, which makes me crazy. So the next morning, Grim is still snoring loud enough to rattle the window panes. I get up and sneak out of the house. The way I figure, I can check on Freak and be back in time for breakfast. No harm done. Doesn't work out like that, to say the least. The sun is coming up just over the mill pond, and there's this spooky mist on the water. You can hear the frogs making a racket under the lily pads, and the mosquitoes sound like bullets whizzing by. And I kind of have to slap and run until I get clear of that smelly old pond. Moving fast like the sun is chasing my heels, I'm running down this long, faint shadow of me that stretches out ahead. You can't catch up with it. I'm thinking with my feet, like the rest of me is still asleep. Not that I'm completely alone. There's this one old guy. He's out cutting his lawn. He's got these headlights rigged up to his rider mower, and he's wearing pajamas too, like it's normal. Everybody does it. When I get to the hospital, the streetlights are just starting to click off. The lobby is empty, and there's nobody at the desk to tell me I can't be visiting patients at the crack of dawn. There are plenty of nurses in the ICU, though, and they see me coming. This woman runs out from behind the telemetry station, and she's got her hands up to her mouth, and I'm pretty sure she's trying to shush me, even though I'm not making any noise. She's not telling me to be quiet, though. She's saying, "Oh my God, you must be Maxwell," even though she's never seen me before in her life. I go, "Is Kevin back yet?" "Oh dear, she says. "Is he going to be okay?" "Oh dear," she says. "Oh dear." Now more nurses are coming out of the ICU. One of them is the one I accidentally bumped into yesterday. And when she sees me, she goes, "Better page Dr. Spivak. Kevin was her patient." That's when I notice some of the nurses are crying and look at me strange. And all of a sudden, I just go nuts. Just go nuts. I'm saying, "No way, no way." And this nurse is trying to throw a hug on me, and I push her away. And then I'm running down the hall, and it's like I'm Kicker again, ready to blast anybody who dares to touch me. And I have to keep running. I'm skidding around corners, bumping into walls, and no one can touch me even if they're brave enough to try. I just keep running and running until I get to these glass doors that say medical research. The doors are locked, and it's dark inside. Behind me, people are shouting to call the guards, and I punch my hand right through the glass, and I'm inside, skidding over broken glass through the dark, and I just keep going until I come to this other set of doors. No admittance. No glass this time. They're solid, so I can't punch through. And I'm kicking and slamming into the doors, and that's when all the hospital cops catch up with me. A bunch of them jump on me, and I keep going, running around in circles like an accident of nature, until finally, there's so many of them on me I can't stand up anymore. They're putting handcuffs on my wrists and ankles, and they're sitting on me going, "We'll have to medicate him." And this one cop says, "With what, an elephant gun?" That's how Dr. Spivak finds me, covered with cops. She's this worried face leaning down, her eyes are red and blurry, and she's saying, "I'm sorry, Maxwell. We did our best. Better let me bandage up that hand. You're bleeding." "He believed you," I say. You told him you'd give him a new body. He believed you." "What are you talking about?" "The special operation," I say, "the bionics unit." Dr. Spivak makes the cops let me up and says she'll be responsible. but they leave the handcuffs on me just in case. And the cop who was talking about needing an elephant gun has his nightstick out, and he's ready to bop me if I make a move. Dr. Spivak sighs and says, "Oh, somebody get me a coffee, please." And then she looks at me and she goes, "You better tell me all about it." So while she's bandaging up my hand, and I tell her all about how Freak has been coming to the medical research lab every few months to get fitted for his new bionic body. And Dr. Spivak's face goes soft, and she nods to herself, and she says, "Well, that explains it." "It was all a lie, wasn't it?" I say. "You're just telling that so he wouldn't be scared." "You know better than that, Maxwell. You couldn't lie to Kevin. I tried a little fib on him when he was about 7 years old, because I didn't think a child could handle the truth. And you know what he did? He looked up his disease in a medical dictionary." That's when I know she's telling the truth. Freak in his dictionary. "Kevin knew from a very young age he wasn't going to live a very long life," she says. "He knew it was just a matter of time." "So he was lying about getting the robot body?" Dr. Spivak is shaking her head. "I don't think it was a lie, Maxwell. Do you? I think he needed something to hope for, so he invented this rather remarkable fantasy you describe. Everybody needs something to hope for. Don't call it a lie. Kevin wasn't a liar." "No," I say. "But what happened to him, really?" "I could tell you all the medical terminology," she says, "but what finally happened is his heart just got too big for his body." There was talk about arresting me for busting up the hospital. The cop with the nightstick was in favor, but finally they released me into the custody of Grimm. On the way home he goes, "You want to talk about it?" "Just leave me alone," I say. "You've got it," he says. So after reading this chapter, a lot of people are upset and shaken that the main character, the protagonist of our story, the hero, if you will, the one who this book is really about, dies. And people always say, "No, this can't happen." First of all, this should not have been a surprise, because this event was foreshadowed many times throughout the book, in terms of his body slowly starting to decay away. But I would like to talk about the bionic body, because I wonder if Freak, Dr. Spivak basically says that Freak is making a fantasy up to live a different life. I'm going to throw a different theory out there. I truly wonder if Freak believes that when he does indeed die, that he'll get a new body in his next life, which hopefully will be in heaven. Now, I don't know what your thoughts are about the afterlife. None of us know for sure what happens, what is going to happen when we die, for sure. But I truly wonder, there are some people that believe that when you die, whatever ailment you have here on earth, whatever is wrong with you, whatever is crippling your body, when you go to the next life in heaven, your body is replenished. You have a brand new body, and I wonder if his robot body, his quote-unquote robot body, may be a new body that he is supposedly going to be getting in heaven. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? That's completely a theory that I'll throw out there, and I don't know what you happen to believe as well. There is only one chapter left in Freak the Mighty, and we're going to go ahead and close out chapter 24 in favor of chapter 25, because we get to meet an old friend of ours from earlier in the book. And who would have thought that Miss Loretta Lee would come back to give Max some pretty solid advice. So we're going to go ahead and close out chapter 24 here. Say good night to you, and thank you so much for listening.